Anna this morning. I believe you were a witness, and looks like you're, from what I understand here, you provided a statement and then recanted that statement a little bit. So I'd like to go through, have you take me through these events. This would have been involving a double homicide. Two individuals. One victim was Luke Colton. Another victim was a gentleman by the name of Lorenzo Abbot. You may or may not know him by his, I guess he had an alias of the Big Puffer.
It was Puffa.
Puffa, okay. And my understanding, looking at Trooper Boscarelli's report here, is that well, I've been to the crime scene down at the just in the parking lot, just north of the Del Perro Pier. I wonder if you could take me through events that led you guys to up to that particular location.
Well, I had started to work down at the chop shop, and I accidentally slipped some names of people that worked down at the chop shop. And I had gotten a text that day. We had went to go eat. We had gone down to the Lucky Plucker and got some food. Had decided to go down to Del Perro Pier, the parking lot, to just eat our food and kind of enjoy the day. I had gotten a text message from a Miss Jessie Wolfhart. She's now Miss Slater. She texted me asking where I was. A few minutes later, there's a car that pulled up from the beach, parked right next to us.
Okay, can I stop you right there just real
Asked,
quick? When you said that Miss Wolfhart texted you, when did she text you? Where were you in relation to the time you got the text?
The first text that I got from her asking about hanging out and meeting with us and stuff, I wasn't sure where we were going, and we were down on actually Vespucci and Power. We were heading down towards the pier itself, and it wasn't until we were like almost there that I had texted her letting her know that we were going down to Del Perro Pier.
Okay, and so you texted her that you were going down to Del Perro Pier, okay? Continue, and then what happened? You pull into the lower parking lot. Now, who was the driver at that time?
The driver was Puffa. It was his car.
Okay, that's Mr. Abbott. And where were you sitting?
I was diagonal, or I mean back and
So
diagonal
back
to
passenger?
him, so I was behind the passenger seat. Yeah.
And who was the passenger?
That was Luke Colton.
Okay. And then the other gentleman in the back, I take it that was Mr. Fopp.
Yeah, that was Walter.
And where was? Are you familiar with a gentleman that arrived on scene by the name of Cliff?
Yes, I know who he is.
Was he visible at the time that you was he known to you to be in the area at the time that you pulled up?
I'm not completely sure. It happened really fast, but he generally is down there anyways. He does metal detecting and stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if he had already been down there.
Okay, but you hadn't come in contact with him yet.
No, we hadn't. We hadn't even gotten out of the car. We were all eating.
Okay. And what were you? What types of things were you eating? Where did you get food at?
We went and got food over at the Lucky Plucker. I had an extra wide cock. I think I want to say I can't remember exactly what everybody got, but it was just like a a bunch of cock and stuff.
Yeah, they do serve up some juicy ones up there.
Oh yeah, the extra wide one's my favorite.
Okay. All right. So so it's a normal day, other than you got a message from Miss Wolfhart, now Miss Slater. Have you had regular dealings with Miss Wolfhart?
I've run into a few times before that. Like I said, the last time that I'd ran into her, she actually had pulled me aside and confronted me about the fact that I had given names out. And I told her that I didn't think I had, I hadn't talked to anybody that would have said anything. And she was just warning me to be more careful, that she was in charge down there.
What name? What names was she accusing you of giving out?
She didn't tell me, but I kind of put two and two together. I think I know the names that I accidentally gave out.
I take it these are individuals that are heavily invested in the operation there.
Involved?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be Jessie herself and Mav Doretto. Those are the two people I accidentally had spoke of.
Okay. All right, and I know this is difficult for you to go back through this. I appreciate your patience in answering my questions. So
that's okay. I want to help.
So you pull up, and you're each of you, I guess, you're all eating, and describe to me the feeling, kind of at that time. Did people seem on edge?
We were comfortable. We were all happy talking, having good food and just enjoying each other's company. I was a little about the text messages, but I didn't put two and two together.
Okay, and then take me through. So you're sitting there, you're eating, and then tell me what you observed at that point in time.
Well, in front of us, I think it was I want to say it was a four-door. I can't remember the make of the car at all, but it pulled up from the beach. We were facing the water, and it pulled up right next to us.
Did it come from the south, like the direction of underneath the pier, or did it come from the north direction of the condos?
Yeah, from under the pier.
Underneath the pier, okay.
No, under the pier, yeah. It came off the sand into the parking spot next to us.
So it came right up to you. Were there other cars in the area at the time, or did you just kind of stick out like you were the only car there?
We were like one of the only cars there. There was like a bunch of local cars around, but we were like the.
But there were other cars.
Yeah, but there wasn't any.
None nearby.
Yeah,
okay.
None nearby.
And I understand from reading the report, the statement said that this car, it was blue in color, and potentially had the doors off, or at least one door off.
Honestly, I really don't remember much about the car. I just remember the gun pointing out at the car and the voice.
What did the gun look like?
Yeah, I'm very sure it was an SMG.
Okay, and that would have been your position from where they pulled up. The front. Would you say the front of their car was towards the rear end of the car that you were in, and they're okay? So they were oriented with their back end towards the water.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you were sitting over there on the passenger side. Did you get a good look inside the automobile that pulled up?
Well, one of them was wearing a pig mask, the person driving. He didn't talk at all. The other man was wearing a monkey mask, but like one of those biker helmet monkey masks. And he spoke. I pretty much knew who he was.
All right. And is this Mr. Jack Jackson?
That is correct.
Okay, what do you know about Jack Jackson?
Well, I've met him a few times, a few street races. I'm very sure he had kidnapped me at one point. He was wearing the same mask. He was trying to disguise his voice, but his voice is so distinctive, it's hard to, not know it's him.
You're referring to an earlier incident where you said you were kidnapped by some men.
That is correct. And I just so happened to be driving around Jesse at the time, which was very ironic.
Very ironic, given that you don't have, like you said, you've had some run-ins with her, but not somebody that you is in your close circle of friends or anything like that, right?
Right. I was just driving taxi, and I stopped by the 24/7, and they just pull up out of nowhere. Like, why and how would they know that I was there?
What would you say? Do you remember Miss Slater or Miss Wolfhard, Jesse? Could you give me a description of her? I've met her in conjunction with Mr. Slater, but what would you say her hair color was?
Honestly, at the time, I think it was that bluish green color, but she's changed it a few times. I've seen it yellow and red. Recently, I saw her with a blonde ponytail, so I don't know. She's just been changing herself up. I wouldn't be able to tell you what she looks like now.
But at the time, she had blue-green, kind of a bluish-green hair. Did it sometimes look like was it a deep blue?
Yeah. No, it was kind of like a greenish blue, from what I remember.
Would it be something, in your opinion, that someone might describe as purple?
No, I don't think I've ever seen her with purple hair. Honestly, actually, I think I might be getting Jesse mixed up with the other Jesse.
Okay, all right.
I know the other Jessie that works down at Street Dreams. She had the greenish blue hair for a long time.
Was she involved over there at that other operation, or just Street Dreams? Okay.
Not that I know
of. All right,
of.
so we're talking about Miss Wolfhard then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not Jessie Vara.
No, not Jessie Vara.
Oh, right. Okay. Hang on just a second, just to make sure we're clear for the record here. the individual that you received text messages from that you were concerned about was Jesse Wolfhart, correct? Okay.
That is correct.
And what was, did Jesse Wolfhart at the time, had you seen her in like the, a day or two, around the incident?
I didn't see her afterwards. Are you talking about beforehand? Right? Yeah, I saw her a few days before when she had pulled me aside.
And what color hair did she have when she did that?
I think she had blonde hair at the time. I can't remember.
All right. Okay, let's go back to the incident of the where the automobile pulls up, and you describe the two men that are inside. Did they make a statement to you?
They made a statement to everyone. Well, the guys up front, they just said, is that purple-haired bitch your friend in the back? And they stated, no, we just picked her up. We literally, we barely knew each other. And then he stated after that, he said, well, you should make better friends. And then he started shooting. And he started, he shot straight up front. He didn't even shoot through my window. He was right next to me. He could have shot me, but he shot them.
You okay? Do you need a glass of water or anything, Lily? Okay.
No, I'll be fine.
So this happens, and they make these statements. They say, are you friends with that purple-haired bitch in the back? Or is this purple-haired bitch in the back your friend? They say no.
No, they said, are you friends? Yeah.
Are you friends with that purple-haired bitch in the back? Yeah. And then up front they say, no, we just picked her up. And then they said, well, you should get better friends. And then they opened fire.
Yeah. And it was just the one man. It was the one
man. So the driver didn't have a weapon out.
No.
And all of the rounds that happened, were you struck at all, or was the gentleman, Mr. Fopp, struck at all?
No, it was only the two up front, Puffa and Luke.
Okay, and after they shot, tell me what happened then.
Walter told me to help Puffa, and I started CPR on him, and then he said to get Luke, so I got Luke out of the car, and I started CPR on him. And then soon after, Cliff and Bosco showed up, and we just kept trying to save their lives, and then we got him in the car, and we got him to the hospital, and they didn't make it.
Okay. The blue card, did you see which way it left the beach area?
It left out towards the freeway.
Kind of that. Would you describe that out towards the, the normal way that traffic moves in and out of that parking lot area?
Honestly, after they drove off, they went that direction. I was more worried about helping Puff and Luke. I didn't look.
And who placed the phone call into the police?
I'm not sure. I think it was Cliff. So I think maybe Cliff showed up first. Because me and Walter right away, started to try and help them and make sure they were okay.
Okay. And my understanding is then shortly thereafter, a few minutes, Trooper Boscarelli arrives on scene.
That's correct.
Okay. Do you recall when Clifford arrived?
I don't. It happened so fast. I was just worried about helping Luke and Puffa, really.
No
I'm
problem.
sorry.
Let's let's change the subject up just a little bit. So what do you know of Mr. Cliffhanger?
I know little bits about him. I know that he spends a lot of time with Nancy. Nancy specifically said she trusts him. Which reminds me, Nancy showed up at the hospital as well.
She did. Interesting.
Yeah. And
who did she? I mean, did you speak with her at the hospital?
yeah, she
This is
made it very clear that it was my fault. And she seemed to be knowing things more than maybe she should, which kind of put me on alarm. And
this is GTA 5
I know
RP.
I slipped names, but
We're playing on the family RP
a lot of
server
people I've talked
and
to,
PC.
and I've had to talk myself down. It wasn't my fault. I made mistakes, yes, but I didn't pull the trigger.
All right, so
I don't know, just
so can you repeat what she said to you when you saw Nancy at the hospital?
she first was trying to comfort me, and then she was saying, you know this is your fault. I'm not gonna be you need to realize what you've done wrong and learn from my mistakes. And she also told me not to talk to the cops, that I would just make it worse for myself. But
Who is this guy?
at first I was scared. I didn't want to get hurt, and I didn't want anyone else to get hurt.
The Golden Nap.
But
Golden Cap. Good to see you.
when I first spoke to Bosco, when he finally pulled me aside, and he made a good point. More people are gonna die. More people can get hurt with these people out there. And even if it means one more life lost in the process, my own, I'd rather find justice for these people that got hurt because I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
Have you given any thought to the witness protection program?
That's the thing is, as soon as I'm married, we're just gonna leave. We're gonna go down to a place I don't want to speak of right now, but we're gonna leave town for a while. And when I'm needed for trial, whenever that is, I'll be here.
All right. Have you cleared that with the? Have you spoken with the DA by any chance, or with Trooper Boscarelli?
About leaving?
Yeah.
No, I haven't spoke to him yet.
Okay. When are you planning on leaving town?
Depends on when we are able to get this wedding together. I'm trying to get hold of SecuroServe right now. That way we have security, because we all know that as soon as people find out it's going on,
Well, they're gonna find out, especially if. Oh, whew, close. forgive me just a second. That was kind of creepy for me. Hang on. My
okay.
God. I felt like all of a sudden I was sinking through the floor, but that didn't actually happen. Okay, all right.
Jeez.
Okay. Okay. Well, I take it you're going to be inviting. Well, I mean, how good of a friend do you find or associate do you find Nancy Flutterbottom?
Even if I did invite her, she probably wouldn't come.
Okay. Would you consider that? Or had you discussed with Nancy this mentioning of names by any chance?
Actually, no. I hadn't mentioned it to her when she was saying it was my fault.
Or was it your?
She somehow already knew.
Was that your assumption that she had knowledge of that this had happened?
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of alarmed me, is the fact that she already was saying that everything's not okay and that I needed to hide and go out of town and stuff like that, and I hadn't even told her what happened.
And this was at while you were at the hospital?
That is correct.
Where were you in the hospital when this conversation took place?
We were in the emergency room. We got pulled. She pulled me to the side after I couldn't save Luke. And she helped me clean up some of the blood, but it was in the same room, just down the hallway.
Was there anybody else that was nearby and present for that conversation?
No, it was just me and her.
Okay, and you were by Luke Colton?
Yeah, but we were down the way from him, and Walter and everybody.
Would that be down towards those double doors for the where you go for radiation and surgery? For like X-rays and such. It's if there's like a nurse's desk, and then if you're facing the nurse's desk, it would be almost behind you, going down into that.
Well, when you go through the rooms into the emergency room where they have the beds, it was in that room, but just down a bit to the left. If you're walking in past the gift shop.
Okay.
If you walk through those two doors, it was to the left.
Okay, I see. So it was still kind of in that area where they keep the lights off to save some money up there, but not actually in the area where all the where the beds are and patients.
Correct.
Okay, and do you know, does Nancy have a close association with Miss Jessie Wolfhart? Hey, thanks, Dehydrated Bot.
I wouldn't know that.
Okay.
If she did or not.
Okay, all right. After the incident happened, did you have any conversation with Miss Wolfhart?
No, I'm actually 2 days ago I had a conversation with her.
Tell me a little bit about that conversation.
Well, I was down at the beach again, and a van pulled up, and it ended up having Mav, Jesse, Chung, and Archie. He asked if I could come with him, that they needed to talk to me, and so he put me in the back of the trunk because there wasn't space. I went willingly, but I think if I hadn't, I think I would have been told to go, you know?
Okay. And where did they proceed?
So
Go
they
ahead,
took me
continue.
up. Sorry, they took me up to the river down towards Polito. It's kind of where that bridge is, and where they parked there was a den of mountain lions, and they had to keep shooting the mountain lions, but they were asking me about Father Marcus and my association with him, and if I'd talked to the cops and stuff like that, and I wouldn't talk, and Mav ended up telling me to get on my knees, and they all jumped in the car, and they said the mountain lion, you know, that I needed to talk.
Yeah, talk or you were going to get eaten by the mountain lions.
Yeah. Well, before I could even say anything, I closed my eyes because I could hear one coming. And the next thing I remember, I was in the hospital. I haven't talked to her since. I've been kind of laying low again.
Did you report this incident to the police?
I did. When I woke up at the hospital, Trooper Bayo was there. And I told him what had happened, and he met up with me and Marcus. He gave me a ride down to where me and him have been staying. And we gave him, you know, the information we had about the situation, and that's been it. I've been staying home a lot. I haven't really been out too much.
What did they tell you about? I mean, what did they really want to know about Father Marcus? Why are they so interested? He's just a priest, right? Why are they so interested in Father Marcus?
I don't know.
There's got to be a reason they're willing to kill for it.
Honestly, I don't really want to know.
Lily?
I don't know. He's a good guy. I know it may be hard to believe by people saying things, but then again, people say I'm a bad person, Dan. Do you think I'm a bad person?
Do I?
They want to kill me?
No, I think,
I don't know, Dan. That's what you think.
I don't think you're a bad person, Lily. I think you've got caught up in some bad stuff. I think you made some bad decisions, but so have I. I'm not going to judge you on that.
Look, I'm sure Father Marcus has done some bad stuff in the past, but people can change. People do have good in them, you know that. And trust me, all you gotta do is talk to him if you want. You know, when he wakes up later, I'll pull you aside and you can have your own conversation with him. How about that?
Fair enough. I've been meaning to catch up with him. I had a conversation with him at the airport, but unfortunately it was one of those where the city managers were about to do a bunch of renovations, so we weren't going to be able to hear each other. And we agreed to kind of talk later.
Yeah. Well, I feel comfortable telling you where we are, so
yeah, I'm not going to
later on when he's awake, I'll let you know.
Did Father Marcus cross these guys? I mean, these are some pretty heavy hitters. I haven't heard of this Archie guy before.
Like I said, I don't know.
Do you know who this Archie guy is?
He works down at the Street Dreams. I don't really know much about him, but I ran into him the other day, and surprisingly, he was actually kind of kind. He brought down a repair kit and let me know, you know. Just because I was there doesn't mean I agreed with what was going on. I barely know you and everything. So he just said, you got to be careful, because I had tweeted out for help. He said, if I really wanted to hurt you, I would have already done it. But you need to be careful what you do.
All right. Okay. So he's an employee over there. What about this Chung guy? Chung Fei?
Chung Fei? I'm not sure. I don't know where he works.
Keep running into the same people, Lily.
I know. Ironic.
Do you know anything about an association between Mav Doretto and Jack Jackson?
I wouldn't know. The only time I've seen them together was when they've done street races.
How would you describe their, the relationship that you observed? Did they seem to be kind of just distant acquaintances, or, do they spend some time together as they were?
They seem to know each other. Friendly to each other.
Okay. How about, you ever see Mav working with a guy named Bob Coolidge?
Yeah, I have.
Often, or just from time to time?
No, it was only one time, and I've met Bob before, and he seems like a really, really sweet guy. I mean, he's been very helpful, and I don't know. I wouldn't think anything ill of him.
And he wasn't around this. It was just Mav, Jesse, Chung Fei, and this Archie fella.
Oh,
Were
yeah.
all of them armed?
Wait, what?
Were they armed? Did they, you said that they got you out, made you kneel down. Obviously, they did so. They didn't ask you to do so for your health. And they were.
I know Mav was armed. I think Chung was armed.
Did they have SMGs, Tech 9 pistols, or?
I think they had pistols.
Okay. All right, give me just a second here. I'm going to look through the police report that I've got. I want to see if there's other questions relating back to the other incident. I find the one that you just told me about, this would have been on July 14th. Is that correct?
The double shooting?
No, the double shooting occurred on the 18th of June. The incident we're talking about that we just talked about there was 7/14. This would have been involving the van, and where they asked you to get in the van and then drove you up and did all of that you just described. Okay. That's 7/14, right? 2 days ago.
All right.
Was it the middle of the day, late in the evening? How would you describe the time?
It was maybe midday. It was still light outside.
Okay, great. All right, let me look through the police report. Give me like a minute. I don't mean to go silent on you, but I just want to kind of review the police report and, all right, make sure that I got everything here. Who are some other people that are associated with Jack Jackson or that you've seen around Mr. Jack Jackson?
Oh, I'm sorry. Things that I've seen around Jack Jackson?
Other associates of Mr. Jack Jackson, particularly people that are
I can only think of.
be capable of driving him when he, in a situation like this.
I've only seen him around two people. The one is Dick Juan, or sometimes they call him Q. And the other person I've seen him around is Adrian Jenkins, and he's the one that had attacked me with the hatchet before.
Adrian Jenkins, guy with a skull face, right?
Yeah, some people call him Face. I've seen him down with him before. He seemed to be a bit associated in a way with them. I can't confirm that, but I know that Q works with him, I think.
How about Tobias Huxley? You see him around Jack Jackson? Jesse Wolfhard, Sean
I haven't
Fay?
seen him around Jack, no. I've seen Toby around Chung before, but that was when I worked down at BBC and they were just meeting down there, so I don't know if they actually hang out.
Should probably. Did you ever see him with Bob Coolidge?
No.
Tell me a little bit about your.
I honestly.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to ask. Apparently, just from a statement that you made previously with Trooper Boscarelli. Tell me about this guy, Eddie Dufresne.
Eddie Dufresne? Well, I mean, we were pretty close for a while until he found out that I was hanging out with Father Marcus. I know he works for Rising Sun.
Event organizer, right?
I don't really know a lot. Yeah, event organizer.
When did he find out about your association
about
with Mr. Father Marcus? Was that before the kidnapping incident with the mountain lion and all of that, or was that after?
No, that was before.
And what was his reaction when you told him?
He was pretty upset. Honestly, he found out without, he was, following me around, and, he saw us together, so. He hasn't talked to me since then. I've tried messaging him, but he won't answer.
All right. And what was your relationship with him? Just friendship?
We were just close friends. I mean, we'd been on a date or something like that, but, I kind of just pushed him away. I wasn't completely comfortable with the I don't know how to explain it.
Did he give you like the heebie-jeebies, or make you feel like you couldn't trust him?
I couldn't trust him because he was around the time that the shooting happened, and I had asked him to not tell Nancy something, and he ended up doing it anyways. So I just couldn't trust him anymore after that.
Do you think he was the source of? Do you think he was the source of Nancy's source for the information about, the names?
I don't know. I wouldn't know any of that.
Who does he associate? Well, you said he's an employee of Rising Sun. Who does he associate with? This Eddie Dufresne.
Honestly, no one really. Oh, well, I mean, I occasionally see him around like Gondolas, um, Cliff, and Sophia
Sophia
Anderson.
Anderson. All right. You and her ever have a conversation?
No. We might have had a conversation about Father Marcus before, but other than that, we don't talk a lot.
What was your? How would you characterize the conversation between you and her about Father Marcus?
She was telling me to avoid him. She had told me a story about something that happened, but, you know, I kind of like to find out for myself, you know?
Okay. Now, you did say that you talked to Nancy at the Vinewood Bowl. This would have been around the 21st, 3 days later, after the incident happened at the beach.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you have an argument with her at that time?
Yeah, a bit of one. You know, she was telling me that I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know the depth of what was going on, and I yelled at her because, you know.
Because two people are dead.
Yeah, and that she had no right to, me saying that I didn't understand. I had to sit there for almost an hour trying to save this person. I understand things are bad. She had no right to say those things.
And what advice did she give you at that time?
She said she gave up on me. She said to go your own path, that she didn't want to be, associated with me anymore.
And have you had any contact with her since?
No, I haven't. I've tried contacting her, but no avail.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you think is of importance in this particular incident, Lily?
I don't think so. But if I think anything, I can let you know later.
All right, fair enough. And it's still your intention to, assuming that an arrest is made in this particular case, that you'd be willing to testify to the statements that you've made with me here tonight. Okay.
Yes.
And these statements that you made here tonight, the answers to the questions, they were not provided under any duress, coerced, or in any other way influenced. Would that be correct?
No, they weren't.
Okay, meaning that you were not coerced to testify here or anything like that. You were doing so of your own free will.
Yes, I am.
Okay. The last question I have for you is: do you have a contact number for Walter Fopp?
I do have
right.
his number.
Let me make sure it's not on the police report already.
It might already be there.
Yep, I got it. The hell do you know? It's amazing what reading comprehension will do for you. All right. All right. And you're expecting to see Father Marcus today?
I'm sorry, what?
You're expecting to see your to see Father Marcus tonight?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's basically Marcus. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, he should be waking up soon, actually.
Okay. Well, first of all, give him my congratulations. And secondly,
When he
well,
can
I
give
hope
it to
so.
himself.
And then I just want to say hello to him in a non-official capacity, of course. But you know, if he has anything that he wants to share before he leaves town, I'd be happy to listen.
I mean, if he feels comfortable,
Yeah.
I'm sure he will.
But other than that, I mean, I just be nice to catch up with him, and you know, I hadn't spoken to him since since right after Jack died. Jack Deacons.
Yeah.
Okay, Lily, I appreciate it. I wish for you the best. I hope you find happiness, and most importantly, I hope you find peace outside of this county.
Yeah. I think I will, Dan. About time I grew up already.
Yeah, well, I can tell you one thing with absolute certainty.
What's that, Dan?
Well, I'm going to miss the heck out of you.
Believe me, I don't want to go, but my safety, Marcus's safety, it's definitely not there anymore.
I understand. Believe me. And you know I do. I mean, the names that you just read off of that list is like a list of group of people that would like to roast me over a spit.
Well, I don't want that to happen to you either.
Yeah. Me neither. I have a vested interest in living. Thank you. Thank you very much, by the way.